From humble beginnings to the heights of power, one man's vision changed the fate of an empire forever. It's 69 AD, the heart of the Roman Empire, where power struggles, military might, and political maneuvering define the fate of nations. In the vast city of Rome, amidst its marble columns, grand temples, and bustling markets, a new leader emerges, destined to change the course of history. Flavius Vespasian, a man of humble origins, steps onto the stage of Roman politics. In an empire marked by corruption, decadence, and military overreach, he offers something different. While many sought power through cunning, deceit, and treachery, Flavius stood apart. A soldier at heart, a pragmatic leader with a vision to restore Rome's greatness. Born in 9 AD in the small town of Falacrina in central Italy, Flavius Vespasian rose through the ranks of the Roman military with a reputation for discipline and tact. His early years were spent securing Rome's frontiers, particularly in Britain and Judea, where he would become embroiled in the infamous Jewish revolt. His success in quelling uprisings in these far-flung provinces marked him as a man of action and conviction. He was not just another noble-born commander. He was a man who understood Rome's complexities and challenges firsthand. By 66 AD, Rome was deep in a conflict with the Jewish population in Judea. The revolt, one of the bloodiest in Roman history, tested the empire's might. Flavius was entrusted with putting down this rebellion, a task which would prove to be pivotal not only in his career, but for the empire's survival. His leadership on the battlefield and ruthless efficiency in siege warfare earned him the title of conqueror. But, unlike many Roman generals, his campaign wasn't one of total destruction. He saw value in rebuilding, not just conquest. During these years, while Flavius crushed his enemies in the east back in Rome, things were unraveling at an alarming pace. Emperor Nero, once the darling of Rome, had squandered his legacy, and in the year 68 AD, the empire was plunged into chaos. After his suicide, the imperial throne lay vacant, and 4 emperors rose and fell in quick succession. It was in this moment of instability that Flavius stepped forward, determined not only to restore order, but to leave his own indelible mark on history. His rise to power wasn't without struggle. While Nero's legacy crumbled, the throne passed from one ruler to the next, each marked by instability and corruption. The Praetorian Guard, Rome's elite soldiers, were a powerful force in the city, and they were quick to sell their loyalty to the highest bidder. Flavius, then in Judea, received word of the political turmoil back home. But rather than rushing to seize power, he bided his time, building alliances with influential figures while keeping a firm grip on his military forces. The turning point came in the summer of 69 AD, a year known as the Year of the 4 Emperors. Rome's power was fractured. A series of rapid coups had left the empire reeling. Flavius, already one of Rome's most respected generals, saw his moment. When Emperor Galba was assassinated and Otho, his successor, failed to gain the support of the army, Flavius was declared emperor by his legions. The Senate, though reluctant, had no choice but to recognize his claim. With the throne secured, Flavius now faced a monumental task, rebuilding an empire ravaged by years of instability. But he was not one to shy away from challenges. His first order of business was to reassert Rome's dominance, both politically and militarily. He quashed uprisings in the provinces, solidified alliances with neighboring kingdoms, and worked tirelessly to restore the trust of the people. His reign marked the beginning of the Flavian Dynasty, a new era for Rome, one that would change the city's very fabric. Flavius understood that the strength of an empire lies not only in its military conquest, but in the stability of its institutions. He reformed the tax system, ensuring that Rome's immense wealth was more evenly distributed and used for public works. Under his rule, the Colosseum, one of the most iconic structures in Roman history, was begun. This grand amphitheater would not only serve as a symbol of Roman ingenuity, but also as a tool to placate the masses with games and spectacles, securing his position as the people's emperor. Flavius was a leader of the people, a man who saw beyond the politics of the Senate and the games of the aristocracy. He understood the true power of the emperor was not just in maintaining an iron grip, but in appealing to the very people who sustain the empire. His policies were designed not only to strengthen Rome's military and political power, but to enhance the quality of life for all its citizens. His reign saw an explosion in public infrastructure, from new roads to the expansion of aqueducts that brought fresh water to the farthest corners of the empire. As Flavius Vespasian forged ahead with his ambitious reforms, a new threat began to stir within his very own family, a looming conflict that would not only challenge his vision for Rome, but also put the very future of the empire at risk. His eldest son Titus, a gifted military leader, had earned the respect of his soldiers and the admiration of his peers. Like his father, Titus had proven himself in battle, showcasing tactical brilliance and an unyielding commitment to Rome's greatness. It seemed inevitable that he would continue his father's work and uphold the legacy of the Flavian dynasty. Yet, as any parent knows, the path to succession is rarely smooth, especially when personal ambitions come into play. Titus, despite his loyalty to Flavius, harbored his own aspirations. He saw the crown not just as a birthright, but as the culmination of years of service to the empire. The father-son dynamic that existed between Flavius and Titus was fraught with complexity. While Flavius had built the empire, Titus was determined to shape it in his own image. The tensions between their visions for Rome created an undercurrent of unease, and though outwardly respectful, the seeds of rivalry had been sown. Flavius's sudden death in 79 AD marked the end of an era, and with it, the beginning of a bitter struggle for power. As the news of his passing spread throughout Rome, the political landscape shifted dramatically. Titus, now the new emperor, found himself in a delicate position. While he was well respected by the military and had earned his place as the rightful successor, he could not avoid the weight of expectation that came with his father's legacy. Rome, at this time, was in need of strong leadership, but it was unclear whether Titus, with his own plans and ideas, could maintain the stability Flavius had established. Under Titus's rule, the empire faced immediate challenges that tested the very foundations Flavius had laid. A devastating eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD wiped out the Roman cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum. The destruction, which killed thousands and buried entire cities under volcanic ash, tested the resolve of the new emperor. Titus, though not without his strengths, was forced to confront a crisis that demanded compassion, swift action, and unparalleled leadership. In the face of such disaster, his response was decisive, but it was clear that Rome's future was not going to be without its trials. Despite Titus's successes, there were moments when it seemed that the empire was faltering, even under his capable leadership. The foundations Flavius had carefully built were not so easily preserved. While Titus had the loyalty of the military and some degree of popular support, the political instability that accompanied his reign highlighted the vulnerabilities that still existed within the empire. As Flavius had done in his time, Titus had to work relentlessly to keep the empire together, to maintain the delicate balance between military might and political power, and to navigate the complexities of leadership in a time of crisis. Flavius's death, while a painful moment in Roman history, did not just mark the loss of a ruler, it marked the loss of a guiding vision. It was under his leadership that Rome had been transformed, not just through military conquest, but through a deep and enduring commitment to reform and modernization. His focus had been on securing Rome's future through a combination of military strength and social reforms. The empire, now under the reign of Titus, had to confront the reality that the empire's future would be shaped not by the vision of Flavius, but by the new ambitions of those who succeeded him. Though Flavius's name may have been overshadowed by the brilliance of his son Titus, and later by the destructive reign of his other son Domitian, it was Flavius Vespasian who had laid the groundwork for what would become one of the most enduring empires in history. His reforms, his ability to stabilize Rome after years of political chaos, and his focus on the welfare of the people created a strong foundation. Without him, Rome might never have achieved the stability it enjoyed during the Flavian dynasty. For the visionaries who came after Flavius, his example would forever serve as a guide. Even as the empire continued to evolve under different rulers, the core principles he had instilled, strength, unity, and reform, would continue to shape the empire's trajectory. Rome, as great as it would become, owed much of its glory to the man who rose from obscurity to forge the empire's modern identity. In the annals of history, Flavius Vespasian is remembered not only for his military prowess or his political skill, but for the way he transformed an empire in turmoil into one of the most powerful civilizations the world has ever known. His story, one of ambition, vision, and resilience, is not only the story of Rome itself, but the story of a leader who understood the importance of reform, stability, and the long-term well-being of his people. As the Romans would say, imperium sine fine, an empire without end. And in the life of Flavius Vespasian, Rome found its greatest rebirth, an empire that would endure for centuries to come, forever shaped by the hands of a visionary who knew how to lead in times of uncertainty. His legacy, though sometimes tested by the turbulence of his son's reigns, would remain a guiding force in the ever-changing history of Rome.